Hello and welcome to the CDO magazine interview series. I'm Yali Sassoon. I'm co-founder and CTO at a company called Snowplow. And today I'm incredibly fortunate to have the opportunity to speak with Kalyani Sekar, the Chief Data Officer at Verizon. So you've talked a lot about how much work you've had to do on the infrastructure and scalability side to enable Verizon to realize all this potential and execute on its AI strategy. Are there sort of other things you've had to do around the technology stack to get prepared for your future data and analytics goals?
I think we are moving away from single siloed platform approach that is serving for a particular business for a particular use case to scalable distributed ecosystem that is serving for the enterprise, where we truly see the cross-functional data collaboration that are happening live. We are modernizing our platform to support the demand from compute and storage perspective, and at the same time, and manage the demand of the large organization with high volume, velocity, and variability in data. Let me give a band. The variety of data also changes as the AI evolves. Let me give you a few examples here. With the advent of deep learning and generative and agentic AI, there is an enormous deal with multimodal data set. I think managing with structured data is a whole way of doing things. Now, managing the data where there are images, videos, text, PDF, right? That is where the norm is now. We really need to have the data platforms and infrastructure to store these multimodal data and process the data and manage these data sets in sub-seconds, right? That is what we are looking for. Along with that, we also need to have the right platform to support data types like vectors, graphs, because the data sets are now it is not characters and it is not numbers, right? It is now there is vector database, knowledge graphs. All these things provide a lot more contextual reference to the data that really makes AI and the intelligence much more stronger and live.
Yeah, makes lots of sense. I mean, the multimodal thing is huge, and I think it's taken us as an industry years to work out how to govern and drive quality in structured data, and it feels like we have to learn that all now on the unstructured data side as well. It's a whole new world of things to learn before and scale.
Correct. And along with that, Yali, I think one additional point, right? And when we talk about managing the large set of data, scalability and reliability of managing the data becomes very, very critical. And that's where we have the industrialized practices that is powered by automation, right? In managing large pipelines that brings the unstructured data or all the multimodal data, graph and everything. So this is all about having the right data processing framework, having the automated pipelines for the continuous integration and capabilities to manage the data quality we talked about, observability, data lineage. All of them are managed for managing the for all of them are managed to for the scale that we want to support across the data engineering community. On top of it, we also have data products. We also build the business ready data products that really bring in the reusability of data across the enterprise. And at the same time, it really provides single version of truth that brings reliability to the enterprise.
It sounds like you've got a very distributed, very federated ownership of data. So you've gone very fast and very quickly into the data, kind of adopting a data mesh paradigm. Is
Mhm.
that right?
Yeah, we have that. You're right. I think we almost created a virtual data mesh that brings the data of different entities that I talked about, right? The customer, employees, network, device, distribution, but truly create a connectedness of that data. I think you're right.
Yes, I've got lots of questions, but I mustn't stray too far from the plan. Looking ahead, what are the primary challenges you anticipate in ensuring robust data governance and quality as you scale your AI and analytics initiatives?
That's an interesting question, because when we talk about challenges, definitely from governance perspective, as you can imagine, Verizon is a large enterprise, and there are different departments. They have defined governance that is very specific to that department, and understanding the governance requirement for individual teams and interpreting that and providing a broader governance is an art by itself. That is one. And the second thing, Verizon as a regulated organization, we are governed with lots of local, state, federal, and international bodies on a regular basis. And every time when there is a new regulation that comes up, translating that into what it means for Verizon, and then translating that to what it means for data is another big art by itself. So I would say that's the challenge we go through governance. And sometimes if we are not carefully combing this one, we get into inconsistent governance processes across the enterprise. So the collaboration across the team, across different teams who are trying to bring in governance and also having a consistent way of working on implementing that governance that serves for the entire enterprise is the big challenge, I would say. But at the same time, it's an interesting area to work on all the time. From quality perspective, and this is that there is no end to quality, because quality is always it. As I said, right? I think it is always what kind of challenges you go through on that day. And lots of time, it's very easy to say that, hey, the problem is because of data and how you interpret the data, where the data challenges. I think maybe you always get into lots of conversation, but from quality perspective, we always constantly see challenges in how we manage the lineage and the traceability of data from the source to consumption. Not because not because it is not managed right. It is too complicated when you look at the data traversing from the start to the consumption. Call it as something that we need to carefully watch all the time. The second one is the scalability of data quality service across the enterprise, because, as I said, the definition of quality at the source is very different from the definition of quality at the consumption. And lots of time, there might be inconsistency in the way source and target calls what quality is. So we really need to make sure that the right hand and left hand always are in sync. And as a data engineering organization sitting in the middle, I would always see that as a challenge we go through and we try to work through all the time. And the last one is making sure the data is sync. Whenever we have the consumption ecosystem, which pulls the data and keeps it in their reporting dashboards and reporting platforms, keeping the data in sync is always a challenge, because if the data is not in sync, we always get into wrong interpretation of data that goes through lots of explanation on why and what and how. I would say these are these three challenges as we see on a regular basis from the data quality side.
Kalyani, thanks so much for sharing all of that insight. It's sort of fascinating to hear where you guys are at Verizon at your scale and at your complexity, and everything that you've done to manage and thrive and innovate and put the customer at the heart of everything you're doing. So it's been an absolute pleasure listening to you. Thanks so much for joining me today. For anyone listening, there are more interviews and insights. Do please visit cdomagazine.tech. That's CDO magazine, all one word, .tech. Thank you very much.
Thank you.